Good morning, and I am so excited you are here. This is Mark Mikelat, and you are participating in a live webinar. This is the real deal, folks. We're giving you some expert information, and this is coming to you live. And the title of this workshop is How to Sell Out Your Photography Workshops. I did it, so can you. So we're going to have an expert wildlife photographer. I'll give her an official introduction in just a minute, but let me give her just a quick hi ho. Kathleen is on the line. Say hi to everybody, Kathleen.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Mark.
All right, we're excited that she is here. She's going to give you some really great information about how she literally sold out her photography workshops. And of course, this is her example of photography, but workshops, right? You may be a professional photographer, or maybe you just have workshops, right? So the methodology is still very appropriate to you. And the subtitle is critically important. Okay, I did it, so can you. Right? This is not theoretical. This is not pie in the sky. We're not making up stuff. Kathleen is going to tell you step by step what she did and how she did it. So thanks for being here. This is me. My name is Mark Mikelat. You can laugh a lot, you can learn a lot with Mikelat. And yeah, and I've been helping small businesses with their online marketing for, golly, it's hard to exactly say because I've done corporate consulting, but if you add it all together, well over 20 years. And I did social media consulting and online digital marketing before there was, quote unquote, really the internet, far back as the mid 90s. So I have a deep and broad understanding of what we're talking about, and it's near and dear to my heart when I can share these real best case examples to small businesses because I know that it works. I've done it myself. I help my clients do this, implement these best case strategies in my business, building aspirations. Because that's what we do. We build your aspiration. We add a motivational twist to everything that we do. Because if we're just giving you the math, quote unquote, it's not going to work, right? We got to motivate you, inspire you along the way. And Kathleen's story, her success story, is such a powerfully rich one that you're really going to learn some stuff and going to be inspired by her success story. Let me make sure to acknowledge Constant Contact. Constant Contact is our host for this, and if you are not using Constant Contact, you're going to see over the next few minutes why you should get started. And we'll give you an invitation at the end to really get going, to start your game or ramp up your game depending upon where you are. And then, of course, we're going to give you the contact information for Kathleen and myself. This is a little bit more about Kathleen. Kathleen is a wildlife photographer. Holy moly, bajoli, when I first learned about this is the job that you want when you're 8 years old. Okay? Oh, I want to be a circus clown. I want to be a radio or a rodeo bull rider, right? You want this cool, super duper fun job. That's what she is. That's what she does. She goes and she takes pictures of wild animals. And it's like, holy cow. And most of the time, I'm just kind of the moderator here. She is the expert. So I'm going to officially introduce Kathleen right now to have her tell a little bit more about her story and what she's going to talk about in the webinar. Kathleen?
Thanks, Mark. Do you want to go to the next slide, or you want to wait 1 second on that?
Well, why don't you just give maybe a 30-second, 1-minute introduction to tell
Okay.
people about your experience.
Okay. I love the way you said that when you're 8 years old, this is a job that you would want, because that is how I feel. I feel like I've come from being in very serious job capacities to now being a kid again, and it's just a delightful place to be in my life with wildlife photography. So I'm looking forward to sharing some real specifics on how I structure workshops and how I communicate and market them through Constant Contact. And thank you very much for having me today.
Oh yeah, yes, yes, yes. I am excited too. And let me invest 2 seconds here to officially click a button and make Kathleen the official presenter. So
Okay.
Kathleen, you should have control now, and I'll pipe in every once in a while with a question. But Kathleen, take it away.
Okay, thank you. And I think it's fun to be a kid when it comes to animals and wildlife in general. So I want to ask a question of the audience that type into the chat room, what is the animal that you most like to photograph? And I'll go ahead and get started. As I'm getting started, feel free to type in, and if it's more than one, you can type in more than one. Do I?
I'm gonna go with eagle because I think eagles are just like exquisitely beautiful.
All right. Uh, Mark, have you given me presenter rights yet?
I have. Let me make sure that we do it properly here.
Okay,
Okay, we are
now
good.
I see. Okay, I'm going to bring up one of mine. If you can you see my screen of the leopard?
We see the leopard. Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
that is one of my favorite animals to photograph, and he sees me every morning when I'm sitting at my desk.
Ah, I love it. Way to motivate your day.
All right.
Let's see. Don says his favorite animal is his granddaughter.
Oh, that's awesome. And they're always moving around crazy too. So kids are just as much a challenge as animals.
And Sarah loves cats of all sizes. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, boy, that's how I feel too. Cats are absolutely my favorite. So thank you very much for joining, and thanks for that introduction, Mark. In today's session, I want to talk about setting up photo workshops, and as Mark said, it can apply to any kind of workshop, but it's primarily geared towards photography here, but really it applies to anything when it comes to using constant contact. What communications that I provide out to my customers when they have registered for a workshop, how I leverage the constant contact library, which can house documents and photographs. And throughout, I want to give you tips that are tangible, things that you can apply and that hopefully will resonate with you and help you to market and sell out your workshops. So just to give you a quick background of myself, I've always had a camera taking pictures of mostly snapshots, but of my son when he was born, but never really had an area that I realized, aha, this was it. It was in 2009. I was in Grand Teton National Park, and I realized during that trip that even though I really enjoyed landscape, I was resonating to wildlife, that was pulling me, and I never looked back since. It really was a life-changing moment, and I love this quote from Mark Twain: the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And to me, I found out why when I was in the park that year, and after I got back, I didn't want to take pictures of anything else but wildlife. I mean, I have to admit, I haven't taken that many pictures of my son since I came back. He's now older and doesn't even want his picture taken. But boy, wildlife has really just totally captivated my attention. Um, since then, and I think this is true with anything that you determine is your passion and you follow it. I have taken steps, not a lot of steps, but some steps to promote my photographs, and it just snowballed. It wasn't a tremendous amount of effort on my part, but a few specific things. When I first got back from Grand Teton National Park, I had a few of my photos on Arizona Highways' online site. And then, then I submitted a couple of photos. You can submit one per month to National Geographic's online daily dozen. And I had a few, I've had 3 in total picked and shown on Nat Geo's website. But it was after the first photo that was in late 2009 that then got picked up by Solent News and Photo Agency out of the UK, and they contacted me about signing a contract, and it was, I remember not being sure of whether I should, but I went for it thinking, well, how else am I going to get that kind of exposure? And it's turned out to be a great relationship. Since then, I've had dozens of photos published by them, and as a result, through them, I've had photos on NBC's Today Show, which that would be no way I'd get that on my own, but it was through their relationships and with Rex photo that it came back to the U.S. And since then, I'm also now a contributor to Getty, which again, this was like, how would I ever get into Getty? I looked at their website and thought, this is carefully planned. They almost discourage people from contributing. But I ended up getting an email from them inviting me, and boy, I clicked on one link and ta-da, the door is opened. It's amazing. I just want to reinforce that when you find your passion and then you do some smart steps, but taking steps, continuing to move forward, that amazing things can happen. In 2011, so I had an aha moment in 2009, started getting some photos published. In 2011, I hired Mark, and you could just hear from Mark's introduction how motivating he is and positive, upbeat. And when I met him, I thought it was just to help me write a book, but it was so much more than that. It really was the beginning of my photography business. He helped me to think about using Constant Contact as an online marketing tool. He put me in touch with a book designer who helped me with my first book. He has continued to ask me questions, thought-provoking questions, and provide me encouragement. He was the one that said, sometime in early 2012, have you thought about teaching wildlife photography? I was like, well, maybe a little. And it's my own personal belief is that, and I've always had this belief through my entire life, is that being successful is not about being fearless, because I always have fear, some level of anxiety, some level of you can call it excitement. People that are afraid to say they're scared would call it excitement, but I have always had some level of fear. But success is not based on being fearless. It's about having the courage to take that first step and then the next step, even just a small step, but to keep taking those steps, even when you're afraid, that builds success. And it's my own internal way I'm built, and with the help of an expert, which I'm a huge believer in. I don't want to be an expert in everything. To get help, that Mark has really helped propel my business. Since then, I have published 2 books. The first one was published in 2013. It's in print form and now an ebook, Capturing the Moment. And the second is on specifically composition tips, and that's strictly an ebook. And that was so much easier to publish. And in fact, I'm putting together the steps on how to help other people do that, because it's so doable to get books out on Amazon and Kindle and on Apple's iTunes, that I want to help people do the same, even if it's not a how-to book, if it's even just a book of your photos, sharing those with your friends and family. It's worth getting it out in electronic format. And my business I think it's always a good idea, and I've been advised to be sure that I diversify in the business. I teach photo workshops. They're booking over a year in advance. There's a huge price range. Mark was one of the people that from the very beginning encouraged me to have a stepping stone of products available. And I remember starting with $6 photo critiques that would take me like an hour to do. And I remember Mark saying, we need to get you out of these $6 products. But he also acknowledged that it's important to have some things that are free. And so I do have products that are free, but that you have stepping stones. You have something that's for free, something that's for $10, something that's for 25, 30, 50, 100, 1,000. It works its way up from there. And I've done that and been successful in all the ranges of the dollar value.
And
I've complete. Go
let me
ahead.
pipe in just 1 second here, because we've got different people with different levels of knowledge and expertise here. It
Okay.
doesn't matter where you are. I mean, but you can go further. And we're talking about some numbers here of approaching zero, doesn't know what she's doing, quote unquote.
Mhm.
A few dollars to a few thousands of dollars. And so it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, if you haven't gotten started, we're going to tell you where to get started. And if you've gotten started, well, we're just going to make you a little bit more successful. So it really doesn't matter. We're just going to get more success.
Yep, and I think that always with whatever product it is, and whether it's for free or it's a small dollar amount, it's always looking at it from your potential customer's perspective. And in my case, being a wildlife photographer and having a passion for wildlife photography and then selling things that are associated with wildlife photography, for me, I just put myself in the shoes of the customer. What would I want? How would I want to be communicated to? How would I want to get this product, etc. And then I provide it in the way that I know I would want it, and that is working for me. But I think it's good to get feedback from potential customers and from your customers, which I'm always doing and learning and improving as I'm going. Since then, I've taught over 50 workshops to date, and I have over 500 customers, people that have attended my workshops. I organically, through a 10-year window, learned how to use SmugMug, the photo platform website photo platform, and now I'm helping other photographers build their SmugMug websites, which is working out beautifully as a way to diversify. And I have affiliates now with a number of different companies, Amazon and Borrow Lenses, Adobe, and SmugMug. I do a lot of speaking engagements at camera clubs, and I'm judging photo contests, and it's been a great way to partner with different clubs and other photographers on some of the events that I do. And I mentioned earlier being a Getty contributor. So lots of elements to the business. I'd say I'm definitely still a small business and appreciate all the feedback and all the help that I get from experts like Mark. So my goal with Constant Contact, when I started using Constant Contact, this online marketing tool, my initial goal was to share useful wildlife photography information with people who were enjoying my photos and to provide answers to common photography questions. So provide some value. I thought the benefits would be, and they are, that you build this mailing list of people that enjoy reading your emails and they're loyal followers, and many of them will eventually, if not today, buy something from you. I wanted a place I could market my photos, get my name out there. I wanted to be able to sell that first book that I had put together, create customers, changing followers to customers, and sell more stuff if I could. Within Constant Contact and probably within any online marketing tool, the distribution list that you're sending to is your subscriber list, and you'll see all kinds on the internet. There's all kinds of ways that people say, hey, subscribe to my newsletter, and it's a little overwhelming. So to me, it's really important to try to stand out from that, because who wants to get tons and tons and tons of emails? We already do. So you want to be selective in which lists that you subscribe to. My subscriber list is comprised of many small lists. I covered this in the first webinar, and I think it's been a huge benefit for me in how organized I stay around this list. Each event, each workshop that I do, whether it's a workshop, an event, a different kind of event that you're doing, I have found it to be very valuable to create a separate list of the people that are part of that event. And I have a naming convention for that list, year, month, and day, and then the event name. And I only collect name, email address, and phone number from each person that attends the event. I think it's important in fact, legally, it's important to only collect what you need from a marketing perspective. The benefits to having these separate lists has been that I'm able to personalize communications for that event. I can track, and I can easily send out communications just to that list of participants for that event. I can track through reporting through Constant Contact. I can track what events people have attended in the past. So I see John Smith at a future event, and I go, oh yeah, you attended my Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum in 2013. So nice to see you again. It's like, boy, you have a good memory, Kathleen. No, I just have a good tool. There's no way I'd remember that. I have a hard time remembering names 2 months later, but this helps me to stay smart about it. It also allows me to send newsletters out to the entire list, and there's no duplication. So even though someone's attended multiple events, when I send a newsletter out, it only sends them one version. So workshops, selling out workshops. Before Constant Contact, so this is more the manual approach, and I did have a couple of photo workshops that I managed this way. It was completely manual. I had, and still do, workshop PDF, so a flyer for the workshop is in a PDF. I send the email out to, with the PDF attached saying, hey, guess what's going on? I'm doing this workshop, let me know if you're interested. Maybe send out something in snail mail, which I typically don't do, but I get catalogs in the mail from various organizers advertising their workshops. And then make phone calls, hey, did you get my email? Because I don't really know if they did or not. Collect checks in the mail. So if someone does want to sign up, they send me a check in the mail. And then I'd handle questions about that workshop through phone calls and emails, and essentially flying blind, not really much acknowledgement. Okay, did they get my email? Did they hear my phone message? Did they open up the handout? Do they know where we're meeting? All those kind of questions that help you be successful in delivering a workshop. You're really flying blind when it's manual operation. And it's not repeatable or sustainable. I could not run the number. I have 30 workshops scheduled for next year. I could no way run them this way without Constant Contact or without some tool that has these kinds of capabilities I'm going to mention. So with Constant Contact, how has it helped me? Well, and I'm going to throw in tips as we're going along. The first tip is, boy, it's so important to make learning fun. I'm so glad, Mark, you mentioned, having the job of an 8-year-old that an 8-year-old wants, because that's what I want people to feel like when we're on the workshops. Photography is serious, it's hard, it's complicated, but most importantly, it should be fun. And especially when you're photographing wildlife, it should feel like you're a kid again.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I teach executive level senior executives in decision making and leadership courses sometimes, and yeah, I mean we love to laugh. We're human beings, so whatever the topic is, yeah, you definitely need to make it fun.
Yeah, whatever the topic is. And sometimes it's hard in some topics to find humor. I'm sure I wonder if lawyers sit around and make jokes and laugh all the time, probably about their clients, huh? So making it fun is really important. And I one thing that I do that helps to make the group cohesive and to joke around together is to get a group photo. And I try to do a few of those throughout the workshop, especially multiple day ones. Brings people close together, because otherwise you're kind of your eyes up at your viewfinder and you're looking through the camera and you're not really thinking about all the other people that are in the group. And you get a group photo, and as a group you do funny things, like in this case it was, yep, we're going to do one picture where you're holding your camera, and now pretend like you're photographing something really weird. You're photographing the group, the sky, each other, whatever, and then snow starts to fly, and it makes for a fun photo and keeps the energy very positive. So that's the first tip. The second tip is to, and this goes to how I have always done business, is to be as concise as you can, but very rich in content. This is a skill that does require a lot of practice, because what you're trying to do is to make it look really simple and not complex and easy to understand to your customer, and yet you know all the detail, and it's not like you're holding back detail. You have to share the essentials. So you have to think about in advance, what is it that is, what are the difficult topics, and how can I simplify this down and make this consumable, and get these points across without overwhelming someone. You want to make the complex easy, and it has to be viewed like, wow, your customer thought, geez, this looks so simple. Yeah, and you want them to feel that way, because that will make them feel like they can be successful. But it's not simple. It's hard work for you, but it's definitely rewarding to see how much people appreciate being able to understand and learn when you make it easy. So it's important to be very organized, and you in workshops, you want the processes to be repeatable. You want to be able to replicate this. The more you standardize in one way of getting it done, the easier it will be to replicate it, to make it repeatable. So you want information to be easy to find and reuse, and Constant Contact is a great tool to use to do that, because everything gets organized, and it becomes very repeatable. Things only require minimal customization to be able to reuse. I organize the workshops the way that they're organized within Constant Contact, similar to the contact lists, where every event itself is a separate folder, and I label everything with the same naming convention. All the emails that go to the participants are all labeled the same way, so that with that kind of organization, it makes the processes repeatable. It's very important, and you're doing the same thing for yourself that you do for your customers. You try to make it as simple as you can for yourself to be able to make it repeatable by being organized up front. The next tip is you want to sell your workshops, whatever the event is, with a great landing page. So this is a unique URL that you're giving to people to say, come check out this event. And for my workshops, each workshop has a landing page, and that's the first URL, first page that someone goes to. And you want it to have a similar look and feel across your events. So in my case, I always have a description of the workshop, what the highlights are, what the price and payment terms are, what's included, what's excluded, some photos from the venue, and a brief description about myself. And again, clean, Constant Contact has helped me with templates to standardize on these, and nice use of color, easy to find the register button, and people come to know what to expect. Then when they come to a landing page for a workshop, they know what to expect from me. Now, once they click register, once someone clicks register, you then want to have a simple way to have them register. And this is an example registration page. So it shows on the left side who else has registered. So I covered the names for their privacy. And again, I only collect the information that I need to deliver the workshop. So in this case, making sure I've got their first and last name, their email address, and email address is critical, so I always ask them to confirm that, and what their cell phone number is, because I'll need that in case I need to reach them before the workshop, or sometimes if someone oversleeps and I need to give them a quick call, I've got their cell phone, or they need to reach me. For longer workshops, I'm collecting a deposit up front, and this registration page allows them to make a deposit. And then I usually have some things that are extras that they can get. And in this case, there's an online webinar that's included at no cost to the participant, and also in this particular workshop, participants received a free copy of my book. So you're giving them additional value at the time that they're registering.
And Kathleen, let me make sure that people got that. I mean, you take the money at the same time you take the registration.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. It's all integrated in together. And then you just take a deposit, but if you wanted to, you could have them pay for the whole workshop right there.
I could, and the ones that are less than $200, they do. They pay for the whole thing. But things that are multiple thousands, I ask for an initial deposit, and then they get billed. I let them know in the upfront description on the landing page what the payment terms are. So may pay a deposit up front, and then the balance 90 days prior to the event.
Okay, so you're actually using it for very high cost workshops.
Yes, this covers all of my workshops. So even my Africa workshop that is next May, that is an $8,400 workshop. I took a $4,000 deposit up front, and then the balance is due 90 days prior to the workshop. So
So
I bill through Constant Contact for the deposit, and then I bill the balance through PayPal.
and then how does it work when someone pays? You get an electronic notification?
Yeah, I get an electronic notification, one, that they've registered, and then two, because I use PayPal, through PayPal I get a notification that payment has been received. So in Constant Contact, it tracks that, one, they've registered, and then once the payment's been processed, Constant Contact automatically updates to show it as paid.
I love it. And did you hear that? She said automatic, automatic, automatic.
Yeah. There's no way I could track all these things otherwise. No way.
Excellent.
Too many details. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. So the next thing that Constant Contact is used for when it comes to my workshops are all my communications. So someone has registered. I have a group of people now, say, registered for my Africa workshop or my January Winter and Wildlife workshop. And all of those names are in the registration, and they comprise the beginning of my participant list. And that list kind of follows the workshop through from start to finish. So all the communications just get sent to that group list of people. And the first email I send out minimum of 30 days prior to the workshop. I think that on the workshops that are in town, you're not having to make air travel arrangements. 30 days in advance is perfectly fine. For example, for my Africa workshop that's next May, my first email went out 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago. And I'll have a second email and a third email before I even get to the online webinar email. So for long workshops, people want help in preparing, and so the first email, the introduction, is a must for any workshop, and then the ones that come in between the first and the webinar are dependent on how big of a workshop it is, the cost of the workshop, how much preparation time it takes. But again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the person attending, and what would I want? What kind of communication would I want? So I want to provide that level of service every time. And my goal is to provide you the best wildlife photography experience you have ever had, and I have that goal in my head for every workshop that I do, and I get that feedback constantly that, wow, no one else does it like this. And it's like, well, but this is what I want. And they go, yeah, well, that's what I want too, but no one else does this. So you would be so much higher in the value that you deliver if you put this kind of emphasis on. And what's nice is that I couldn't do this manually. I can only provide this level of service using a tool like Constant Contact. Each of these emails are pretty standard now. I especially by venue. I literally just go in and take one and copy it for the next venue, change the dates, maybe put a little twist in there, but otherwise it's ready to go. And then I do an online webinar. I use GoToWebinar, and I do an online webinar in advance of the workshop, also in preparation. And so I send out a reminder to the participants of that, and then I send out the recorded link, similar to what Mark will do for you for this webinar, and then a thank you, a follow-up thank you. And I always take a group picture, so I include that, and then I ask people to do a TripAdvisor review for the local trips, or if they're willing to do provide me some content that I can put on my website, then I appreciate that too. So I ask for that in the fourth email. So this is really important, and having these standardized communications. I can't tell you the number of times I have people say, geez, I'm going on this workshop, I'm going all the way to this location, and I haven't heard nothing about this yet. And they start to get a little panicky. They want help. And so having good communication is so important for being successful. The next tip is to reuse and leverage data. So I mentioned using generic formats so that they're easy to use and reuse. Who likes snakes? Is there, just put yes or no in the chat room. This is a reticulated python, and it's the only kind of snake, I guess, that eats human beings.
And you're playing with it. Okay, that's great.
And we were in no danger, and the group just loved holding her, and really fun to hold a snake. So you want to, constant contact helps you to know who has received, who has opened the email. So you're not flying blind at this point. You send an email out, and you know, did they get it? Did they open it? Did they click the links that I had, like for the handout? Did they click other links with my newsletters? Which workshops are they most interested in? How many of these events did I get clicks on, and who clicked on them? Again, it tracks who's attended which workshop, so that I have that information for future reference. How about giraffes? Do we like giraffes? You know, giraffes love bananas, so everybody got to have a banana to feed the giraffe. Constant Contact has a library that you can have handouts, documents, as well as photos in. I have about 1,000 images, mostly images, and maybe it's like 80% photos, 20% documents. So about 100 files in my Constant Contact library. And I've only used 6% of the available space. So it holds a lot. And I insert links to those documents into my emails that I send out. And let's say oh geez, I have an updated version of this now. What's great is that you can replace a document with an updated version without having to change the URL. So the email went out, they have the URL, and you can continue to update that document and that URL even though it's been sent out. The ninth tip goes back to, more the feelings that you convey, and, having people feel inspired, and being an inspiring teacher in how you communicate, how you come across the day of the event, how you come across in your communications, in your emails. There's a lot of egos in the photography business. There probably are in other lines of business as well, but that's not so inspiring. Wisdom, humility, that's inspiring. Seeing one's passion, not just in my passion, but everyone's passion that they bring. Seeing other people's passions is inspiring, and sharing in our passion is life-changing. And that's what, if you make your events life-changing, then you're at the top of your game.
Wow, wow. And you know what? I'm gonna totally echo that, and it doesn't matter what your topic is, because you don't know what is in the brain, you don't know what is in the soul, you don't know what is in the heart of another person in the room. And it's entirely possible that something that you say in that workshop, in that event, can be a trigger, can be a catalyst, and so much more can come from that. So, oh my gosh, I think that is a phenomenal tip. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. The final point is to you want to the kind of encapsulating all of it. You want to create and capture those special moments for your workshop participants that you want to feed their spirit. And I love both of these photos. Diego is a Temu lizard, and Lee, a good friend now who's come to a number of my workshops. Really, I loved this photo of her holding. He likes to be held kind of like a baby. And the other participant, we're allowed to feed the giraffes with cookies in our mouths. And I just love this because he was good that he closed his eyes, because the giraffe pretty much consumed his face, but all he did was just to take the cookie out of his mouth. But to me, both of these just show we're all still kids at heart, and whatever it is we're doing as events and workshops, that we're wanting to feed that spirit, feed that childlike spirit. And I'll end it with there, and encourage you all to apply these tips in your workshops and events, and would love to communicate with you, and if you have any questions, and would love for you to visit my website and maybe join me on a workshop. And I'll turn it back over to you now.
Wow, thank you, Kathleen. Thank you. So, is it fair to say that kind of from A to Z, this has just made your life a little bit easier?
It's so balanced. It feels so much more balanced. Constant contact has been a tremendous tool. Really made all of this possible. And then doing what I do and having a tool that helps me, it allows me to do what I do. And you're right, it just makes it all possible.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And let me see. Did you? Oh, there we go. Kathleen just gave me back control. Let me just make sure that you can see everything properly. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. And I want to emphasize that we talked about registrations here and getting people in your workshop. And she spoke about the whole idea of communication. People need to know. They need the reminders. They need to know where to park. They want to know what's going on. I mean, could you imagine you're spending thousands of dollars on a workshop and the individual doesn't communicate with you, right? You need to tell them what's going on. And the email helps and allows you to do that. It's just a fundamental way to maintain this communication with your registrants. And then, of course, when you use it properly, you can build that rapport with your clients and sell them more items. Now, if you haven't gotten started with Constant Contact, we would love for you to get started. And there's a super duper offer right now, and I'm showing you a screen. If you haven't gotten started with Constant Contact, you could go there. But because I'm a strategic partner, I can offer you a screaming deal. Constant Contact has this promotion now through the end of this calendar year where you can get started for $5. $5 a month, and then that's for the first 3 months. And what's great about this is that you can have as big a database as you want. I mean, if you have a major size database and can really be a superpower with email marketing, you're kind of doing this for free for the first 3 months. Now that is a special link, and I can't promote it on the slide because we're recording this. I just added it in the chat box. So it's an exclusive offer, and that link is only valid. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's only valid through midnight tonight. So if you want to get started and you're on the live call, click on that link that's in your chat box, and you can get started. Now, let me emphasize that Kathleen gave us a lot of rich information here, and I hope you're taking some notes. I hope it triggered some ideas in your brain and in your heart and in your soul. We know that you didn't get everything. So we're recording this, and this recording will be sent to you at 10:10 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's California time. It's going to come from me, Mark at buildingaspirations.com. So that recording will be in that newsletter, So make sure to look out for that at 10 a.m. to the email that you use to register for this event. And I know some of you have some more advanced questions. Well, gosh, how did, Kathleen, she talked about this, but God, I need more information. Yeah, I get it. We can't cover everything in the limited time that we have. Kathleen was very robust and very deep, but we had a limited amount of time. So if you want to engage in a more in-depth, personalized and customized conversation with me, I invite you to do that. And you can set an appointment with me. I'm the email marketing expert. I'm the one who's been doing this for 20 years. And I'm sharing a link in the chat box right now. You can schedule a half-hour complimentary, no-cost phone consultation with me. Just click on that link. You'll go to an online calendar, and then you can pick a date that works for you. And then maybe you have 5 people in your workshops, but you want 500 people. Or maybe you're charging $5 and you want to charge $500. That's one of the things that I can help you do. And then typically, if you schedule this appointment on the website, it costs $75, but by clicking on that link, there's no charge.
Boy, I would love to tell people to do that. Mark has made a huge impact on my life and my business, and
Oh,
to have some of his time at no cost is huge, huge
I love
value.
it. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Kathleen. I so appreciate that. And you know what? Kathleen and I have been working together for a number of years, and I've heard a lot of her stuff, and I constantly and consistently learn something. And that's why we're here today. We want you to learn. We want you to get best case practices that you can take back and implement in your business. And we know that your time is limited, and you chose to spend a little bit of time with us today. So Kathleen and I both give you our sincerest thanks. Kathleen, any very very last words to our attendees today?
Follow your passions and take baby steps forward.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Baby steps forward, yeah, bit by bit, and then eventually that first step can lead to a long journey. Well, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Kathleen, for being here today, and all of our attendees, thank you for being here as well.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we wish you a good day, and we will see you, Kathleen and I will see you on the next webinar. This is webinar 2 in the series. We have the final one next week, same time. We hope to see you there. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.